Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to do a fight breakdown for Junto Nakatani versus Naoya Inoue. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time right now. Subscribe to the channel. Literally takes one click. Also, if you could, please hit that thumbs up button. It does help. It shows love and it supports this channel. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how I do a fight breakdown, basically I put both guys side by side. I run down a list of attributes, and whoever has more points in the end, that's the individual that I would pick to win the fight. So let's jump into this. We're going to start off with power. We have Nakatani with 29 wins, 22 KOs. We have Inoue with 28 wins, 25 KOs. So basically, they're pretty much identical on paper. However, I would still give a slight edge, and I do mean a slight edge to Naoya Inoue, simply because of the caliber and the level of opposition that he's faced, that he's utterly destroyed. Somebody like Neary, somebody like Stephen Fulton, like utterly destroyed these guys. You got to give him credit for that. And not to say that Nakatani probably can't do that. It's just that he hasn't proven himself to do that. We do know he's a star draw. We do know he has a whole lot of power. We do know he's very electrifying and very exciting. But he hasn't done what the monster has done. So I got to give it to the monster. Let's see. Ring IQ. Who's got more ring IQ? Now, again, on paper, these guys look almost identical. However, this is going to be a reoccurring theme. I got to go with the level of opposition because I think that's the only thing that separates these guys. If you want to talk about who's exciting, they're both exciting. If you want to talk about who has knockout power, they both have knockout power. If you want to talk about who has overall star power, they both have overall star power. So it's what's going to separate these two overall throughout this whole breakdown is going to be that reoccurring theme of who have you faced. That's what's going to separate everything. And when it comes to ring IQ, I feel like Naoya Inoue has faced a plethora of styles in varying opposition and how he's dealt with them. I've always said this, and I've always admired this about Naoya Inoue. When you face him, you're not facing the Naoya Inoue that you've just seen. It's almost as if he tailors himself to you. So you get your own personalized Naoya Inoue, which is not a good thing on your end if you're the one facing him. Because now you don't know what to look for. Just because he led with hooks in his last fight or for that guy, or he was more stationary for that guy, doesn't mean he doesn't have legs, and it doesn't mean that he won't implement using his legs in a fight with you. Everything is tailor-made to the individual. I'm not going to be the same guy. If you look at someone like a Triple G, he's the same guy. He doesn't change, he doesn't alter, he doesn't falter with opponent. He's pretty much the same guy. Canelo Alvarez is pretty much the same guy. You look at Naoya Inoue, he is not the same guy. Depending on the opponent ahead of him, that's what it's all going to be based upon. Got to give boxing IQ to Naoya Inoue. Speed. All right, this is just tough. Who's faster? I think Naoya Inoue is faster overall. But when you look at, I don't think Nakatani is the fastest guy in the world. I really don't. And I think mostly with him, it's timing. He's also a great counter. They're both good counter punchers, but I think he relies a little bit more on it. So especially since he's more of a stationary target, he's not moving around as much as Naoya Inoue. So that's why I would have to give Naoya Inoue speed. I think he's overall fast. I think his legs are fast. I think his hands are fast. And I think Nakatani is all about timing. And I think it's just his hands that are fast. He has solid footwork, but he's not on par with Naoya Inoue. Like, he's not going to out-chase, run him down or anything like that. I don't see that happening. Let's see. Defense. Who's better defense? You know what? I think Nakatani might have better defense in a sense. Again, I think Inoue has faced a plethora of styles, but he has been down, a few times. And that was, I look at the Neary knockdown and I just see a guy who wasn't in the moment in that moment. But nonetheless, he was touched in that moment. When I look at Nakatani, I mean, granted, I'm going to have to go back to that same theme and say, well, they haven't fought the same level of opposition. And that's true. But Nakatani doesn't find himself, I don't feel like he finds himself in difficult situations. Now, part of it is just that he's tall and he's rangy and he has those long arms. So, he can kind of stay out of harm's way. But I haven't seen him, where he has to be overly defensive or anything like that. So I'm going to have to give it to Nakatani. I'm going to have to say his defense he hasn't been down as many times as Naoya Inoue. He hasn't been cut. He hasn't, I haven't seen him bleeding or anything like that. So I got to give it to him. Mental toughness, Naoya Inoue. 2-time undisputed champ, Naoya Inoue. I got to give it to him. That should go without saying. Nakatani clearly is a very motivated person, man, hands down. Look at him; he's on a 29-fight win streak, so clearly he's very motivated, and his mental toughness is where it needs to be. But is it undisputed champ, top tier, 2-time undisputed champ, top tier? That has yet to be seen. Just by default, you have to give it to Naoya Inoue because of all his accolades. Mental toughness. Let's see, body work. Who's a better body puncher? I think Naoya Inoue is a better sustained body puncher. I think they're equal. I'm going to have to get, actually, you know what? I'm going to have to give this one a tie. They both put people down with body punches. I'm going to have to give this one a tie. I think they're equally dangerous when it comes to body punching. I wouldn't want to stand in front of neither one of these guys if they're aiming at my body. Got to give it a tie for body work. Range work. Who's better at range? I'm going to give this to Nakatani. He would be better at range. I mean, he's taller, he has longer arms. I would definitely give it to Nakatani. And here's the thing about Nakatani that I really like as well. He understands his body type. A lot of guys honestly just don't understand their body type. You look at somebody like a Sebastian Fundora, who doesn't realize he doesn't have to take half the punishment that he gets every time he steps into the ring if he would just fight tall. While you look at somebody like a Nakatani, he understands, I don't have to be in harm's way, but you do. Because you're shorter than me. Your arms aren't as long as mine. And because of that reason, I can hit you and you cannot hit me. And I'm not going to place myself in a position to be hit. And he's much better at range than Naoya Inoue. Let's see. Adaptability. I just said that Naoya Inoue is a personalized version of Naoya Inoue just for you. Just for you. He's a personalized version. So he knows how to adapt. If you want to be a slick fighter, that's cool. If you want to fight at range, that's cool. You want to be a brawler, that's cool.
How are we going to live up to the expectations based on
whatever it takes for it to be you. He's not the same guy every time he steps into the ring. He's a much different person because he's only thinking about you. He's not thinking about his overall game because the reality is I might have to use all my weapons to get you out of there. So I'm just thinking about what weapons work best against you in your particular way of fighting me. Got to give it to Naoya Inoue when it comes to adaptability. Durability. Also got to give it to Naoya Inoue. I mentioned that he's been down a few times. That's true. But guess what? He got right back up and he demolished the guy in front of him. Durability. Got to give it to Naoya Inoue. Cardio. Championship rounds. Championship rounds, when there's belts on the line and championship rounds, when there are no belts on the line, or different championship rounds. So because of that reason, I have to give it to Naoya Inoue because that's just the truth. It's a different level of drive, pulling or pushing you when there are belts, and especially multiple belts on the line. So yeah, got to give it to Naoya Inoue. Danger, my favorite category. Who's more dangerous? Overall. So once again, we have Nakatani, we have 29 wins, we have 22 KOs, and we have Inoue, we have 28 wins, we have 25 KOs. Who's more dangerous? They're both physically dangerous. Okay, I would give it to Naoya Inoue because of his mentality. I would give it to Naoya Inoue because of his adaptability. I would give it to Naoya Inoue because of his mental toughness. Because he's the type of guy, he's like a Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather will find a way to beat you. If you want a perfect example of what I'm talking about right now, look at the Floyd Mayweather fight against Miguel Cotto. Floyd went through several rounds And, you know, it was a fairly even fight, too. Great fight, actually, especially, you know, in that period of Floyd's career where he wasn't trying to take any punishment. A great fight. He tried several things and they weren't working, and Miguel Cotto was still very much into the fight until Floyd found that uppercut. And then everything changed. And I think Naoya Inoue is the same way. He has a plethora of weapons to use for any opponent at any given time. But he will find the right weapon for you. And that's what's going to make him more dangerous. Outside of the power. That's what's going to make him more dangerous. Not to mention that mentality. You're talking about a guy who was a 2-time undisputed champion. You have to have a certain type of mentality to even get close to that. 2 belts. But when you've gotten all 4 and then you go up and do it all over again, you know what your mentality must be made out of? Titanium. So I got to give it to Naoya Inoue. Now, what worries me about this fight is Nakatani is coming up and he's the new dog in the yard. I personally wouldn't have this fight anytime soon. I feel like Nakatani's star power is still rising. And I don't feel like the rest of the world has given Naoya Inoue his props. And I don't feel like his overall star power is coming to full fruition. So because of that, I don't think this is the right time to have the fight. Now, Nakatani is very much so dangerous. I think he very much so understands his body type. I think he very much so understands boxing. I think he gets the ring. I think he understands what he does well. And I think he understands how to implement that in the heat of battle. So is he dangerous? He's always dangerous. Naoya Inoue has been knocked down before, and he can definitely get knocked down again. I think Nakatani is a lot more dangerous than Neri, and Neri got him down. So, yeah, I think he's dangerous because another thing about Nakatani is he's crisp. Doesn't waste anything. And that is dangerous. Somebody who's a sniper doesn't waste anything. But overall, I would still, especially at this stage in both of their careers, I would favor Naoya Inoue. And that isn't by like a small margin. I don't know, 60-40. Right now, I would favor Naoya Inoue, and I would feel very confident and comfortable in saying that. Drop your thoughts down below. Tell me what you think.